and welcome back to Uncle Math Online Academy. Today we want to review our discussion on cubic expansivity, and we are going straight to solve the last quiz given on cubic expansivity. But before then, let me remind you the formulas given for cubic expansivity. We have two major formulas for cubic expansivity. Number one is that we said that cubic expansivity, which we represent with gamma, is equal to final volume of an object or a substance minus its initial volume over change in temperature, which is final temperature minus initial temperature times the initial volume. This is the first equation we have for cubic expansivity. Then number two is that cubic expansivity is equal to 3 times linear expansivity. 3 times linear expansivity. So with this we get, this is our equation 2. So with this, these are the relationships that we have for solving cubic expansivity. In any question given to you and you are asked to look for cubic expansivity, it is either that you have temperature change with volume change, then you can calculate the cubic expansivity, or you are given the linear expansivity, then you can get the cubic expansivity. In some cases, just to make some things a little bit harder for you, instead of giving you linear expansivity, they will give you the area expansivity and ask you to find the cubic expansivity. Of course, you know that there is no direct relationship between the cubic expansivity and the area expansivity, but we've given that beta, which is area expansivity, is equal to 2 times linear expansivity. So what you do is that if you are given area expansivity instead of linear expansivity and you are asked to calculate the cubic expansivity, from the area expansivity given to you, you establish a relationship between area expansivity and linear expansivity, which is this. Now from this you calculate the linear expansivity and now use the linear expansivity you have calculated to insert into this equation, which is the relationship between the cubic expansivity and the linear expansivity, and now you'll be able to get your cubic expansivity. So they can twist question in any way. You just have to use common sense. Most questions you can answer most questions just with your common sense. No matter the way they twist it, you find a way to get what or the parameters you need for solving the question. There is no way they will give you something to solve without giving you a way to get the parameters that you need to solve the questions. So that is what you should bear in mind. Even if you don't see the parameters directly, check the question very well. You must see how to get the parameters from other things given to you in the question. Just like I said about getting linear expansivity from area expansivity and now using it to solve your cubic expansivity. I've not seen this question, but it is a possibility. In some questions, someone may remember to put something like that. What we used to say is they will give you direct linear expansivity and then ask you to calculate the cubic expansivity. But somebody can twist it and give you the area expansivity to see if you know the relationship between the area expansivity and linear expansivity, and then the cubic expansivity and linear expansivity. That is the essence of putting equation like that. So let's go to the quiz and solve the questions we have there. The quiz number 1, we have that if the cubic expansivity of brass between 27 degrees Celsius and 100 degrees Celsius is 5.7 times by 10 raised to the power minus 5 Kelvin by Kelvin, what is the linear expansivity of the brass? This is in wire question 1998. Now what we do here is this. We have our cubic expansivity and we are looking for linear expansivity. So what we do is that we create a relationship between the cubic expansivity and linear expansivity. And we know the relationship as, for number 1, the relationship between cubic expansivity given to us and linear expansivity. We have that gamma is equal to 3 alpha. Now we are given gamma, that is, we are given the cubic expansivity and we are given temperature change. Now in the relationship between the cubic expansivity and linear expansivity, there is no temperature in the relationship. So the temperature given to you in the question is just to confuse you or to confuse a student that doesn't know the relationship between cubic expansivity and linear expansivity. The temperature change that place is not needed at all to get your answer in this question. Once you establish the relationship between what you want and what is given in the question, you go and solve and ignore every other thing that is not needed or that is not in the relationship. The temperature is not in this relationship, so we ignore the temperature. If we have volume, we can find if you have length, we can find the linear expansivity using the temperature change. But there is no temperature, there is no length in the question, so we cannot use the length, the change in length and the temperature to get the linear expansivity. The only thing we can use to get it is the relationship between the cubic expansivity and the linear expansivity, which does not include any temperature. So we go and solve using this. So this becomes, we have gamma expansivity. We have gamma, which is cubic expansivity, as 0.0000057. That is 5.7 down by 10 raised to the power minus 5. Now this is equal to 3 times linear expansivity. Now that means that linear expansivity is equal to 0.0000057 divided by 3, and what we are going to get is, we are going to get 1.9 times by 10 raised to the power minus 5. When we divide this, we get 1.9 times by 10 raised to the power minus 5 per Kelvin. This is the linear expansivity we are looking for. So that is the answer to question number 1. The temperature given to us in the question is not needed at all to solve the question. I repeat, once you establish a relationship between what you are looking for and some parameters in the question, ignore every other thing that is not in the relationship or in the formula. like the temperature that is there in the equation, it is not needed. Now we look at the example question number 2. When a ball is heated through 30 degrees Celsius, its volume becomes 1.0018 cm cube. If the linear expansivity of the ball is 0.0002 per Kelvin, calculate its original volume. Now for us to calculate this, we have the linear expansivity and we are looking for volume. So also they are bringing again, or they want to check whether we still know the relationship between linear expansivity and cubic expansivity. Normally they will just give us the cubic expansivity and then the temperature change and volume change and ask us to look for one of the parameters. But here, instead of giving us the cubic expansivity, they now give us linear expansivity. Now for us to create a relationship between linear expansivity and cubic expansivity, and now get our cubic expansivity. Now from it, we now use it with the first formula for cubic expansivity, bringing in the volume and temperature change. Now we can now calculate our original volume. Now see how we do it. Number 2, we know that gamma is equal to 3 times alpha, which is equal to 3 times linear expansivity given to us in the question is, the linear expansivity is 2 times 10 raised to power minus 5, 2 times 10 raised to power minus 5. So we have times 0.00002, and this is going to give us 0.00006, okay, per Kelvin. This is now the cubic expansivity. Now we have cubic expansivity, we have temperature change, and we have one volume. We have cubic expansivity, we have the temperature change, 30 degrees, and we have one of the volumes. Now we are looking for the second volume. It is now easy for us to put it in the first equation and get the original volume of the object. So it becomes now, we now say that gamma is equal to V2 minus V1 over T2 minus T1 times by V1. Now V1 is the original volume that we are looking for. That is the initial volume. Now we know V1. V1 is 1.008. So gamma is equal to, we already know our gamma as 0.006. Gamma is 0.00006. This is equal to, the final volume is 1.0018 minus initial volume, we are looking for it, V1, over temperature change is 30 minus 0, that is 30 degrees. We are only giving one temperature, so we are giving the temperature change directly, which is 30 minus 0, then times the initial volume, which is V1. Down with this, it is equal to 0.00006 is equal to 1.0018 minus V1 over 30 V1. Now this gives us 0.00006 times 30 V1 is equal to 1.0018 minus V1, and this gives us that now we bring the volume to the other side. This actually gives us, this one will give us 0.00006 times by 30 will give us 0.0018 V1, 18 V1. So all this will give us this. Now this is equal to 1.0018 minus V1. Now bringing the volume here to the other side, it becomes 0.0018 V1 plus V1 is equal to 1.0018. Alright, so we have that we can have a common factor between 0.0018 V1 and the V1. The common factor is V1, so we now have that becomes V1 bracket 0.0018 plus, that is 0.0018 V1 divided by V1, we get 0.0018, and V1 divided by V1, we have 1, so plus 1. This gives us 0, this gives us that is equal to 1.0018. We equate it to this one, so go to 1.0018. So this side, left hand side now becomes V1 bracket 0.0018 plus 1 will give us 1.0018 is equal to, the right hand side remains 1.0018, and that means that V1 is equal to 1.0018 on the right hand side divided by the coefficient of V1, which is 1.0018. So this gives us 1. So the answer is 1 cm cube. This is the final answer. So the original volume of the ball is 1 cm cube. This is the final answer. So you've seen how we calculated the cubic expansivity from the area expansivity, and now use the cubic expansivity we have calculated to now get the original volume of the ball. So this is just a simple question that they just combined two other questions or two other concepts to give us this question, and it now looks like it is difficult, but it is not any difficult at all. They just tested our knowledge of the relationship between the cubic expansivity and the linear expansivity, and also our knowledge of the cubic expansivity, volume and temperature change. So we're able to break it down into separate relationships establishing the relationship between the cubic expansivity and the linear expansivity, and now establishing another relationship for the cubic expansivity and the volume and temperature change. So we now solve the other example. Example 3 says, what is the cause of sagging in electrical cable? This is very simple. We've talked about the effect of expansivity, and we say that one of the bad effects of expansivity is that it causes the sagging of electrical cable. Now, which of the expansion types causes this sagging? Now we know that number 3, we are looking at alpha, beta, and gamma. Which of them causes the sagging in electrical wiring? Alpha is talking about length. Beta, which is area, is talking about area, and cubic expansivity is talking about volume. Electrical wiring is a length parameter. That is, electrical cable, we measure the length of it. Assuming we want to get any expansivity of electrical wiring, it is the length of the electrical cable that we are going to calculate. So this is actually causing the sagging. It is the linear expansivity that is causing the sagging of electrical wiring, because we determine linear expansivity in electrical wiring. Whatever we can stretch to form a length, it is linear expansivity that has effect on it. If you have a given rod and the rod can be stretched to different lengths, the effect of expansivity on it is due to linear expansivity. If you have something that is in form of a volume, that you can get its volume, the effect of expansivity on it could be the volume expansivity. And if you have something that you could get the area, the effect of expansivity on it may likely be the area expansivity. For electrical wiring, for you to get the area of electrical wire, it will be very difficult for you to get it. And for you to get the volume of an electrical wire, it will be very difficult for you to get it. The only thing that you can easily get from an electrical cable is the length of it. So because we are not talking about length, we are now referring to linear expansivity. So the effect is due to linear expansivity. So that is the answer to question number 3. Now, question number 4. The mass of an empty density bottle is 30 grams. When filled with a liquid, the mass of the bottle and the liquid is 40 grams. On heating the filled bottle through 40 degrees Celsius, the mass reduces to 38 grams. Calculate the apparent cubic expansivity of the liquid. What we do here is that we try to get the mass of the liquid. That is why I sent the earlier video on density. I decided to review our knowledge on density. In density, there is something we call relative density. Relative density is the density of a substance all over density of water, or mass of a substance all over equal volume, mass of a substance all over the mass of equal volume of water, or weight of a substance all over weight of equal volume of water. We also have what we call apparent when we are talking about apparent cubic expansivity, we are talking about something that is related to the original one, the real over the apparent or the virtual. That is when something has been missed or when something has been taken from it, the relationship between it and when it is full is what we call apparent. It is a relationship, just like we talk about relative density. We are relating it with another thing. So in apparent cubic expansivity, we are relating the cubic expansivity of the object with the original expansivity of it. Take for instance, we can relate the mass of an object with the original mass of it, or the weight of the object with the original weight of it, or volume of the object with the original volume of it. This occurs if maybe you are given a given mass of a substance and you do something to take away some quantity from it, you know that the mass will reduce. So now creating a relationship between the original mass of it and the one that is now left is what we call apparent. Apparent means that something has been taken. You are now trying to establish a relationship, a relative, like in relative density, between the substance and the original one that has been there, that we are given. So that is what we call apparent cubic expansivity. The mass of the substance before the mass of the substance and the mass of the substance when something has been taken from it is what we call the apparent cubic expansivity. The formula for it is apparent cubic expansivity. If you are still talking about expansivity, it is equal to the mass when something has been taken from it all over the mass left, or volume when something has been taken from it all over the volume left, or weight when something has been taken from it all over the weight left. This is equal to the change in mass all over the mass left times by temperature, or change in volume all over the volume left times by the temperature change, or change in weight all over the weight left times by temperature change. So number 4, let's solve it. Number 4, the apparent cubic expansivity here is equal to change in mass of the object, change in mass all over the mass left, times by change in temperature. Or if it is volume that is given to us, we say change in volume. That is the volume before you heat it minus the volume after heating. You know that if you have a quantity of water and you heat it, you boil it, some of the water will escape, which means that after heating it, the volume of the water will not be the same as before you started heating it. So you now say the volume before you start heating it minus the volume after you've heated it, then over the volume after you have heated it, now times by the temperature change. This thing is still the same thing as the relationship for cubic expansivity. It's just that they put apparent, creating a relationship. Our formula for cubic expansivity is change in volume all over original volume times by temperature change. Here we are no more talking about the original volume. Here we are now talking about the volume that is left. That is just the only difference between the formula for apparent cubic expansivity and the normal cubic expansivity. In normal cubic expansivity, it is the change in volume times the original volume. But here, it is change in volume times the volume after you have heated it, or the volume that is left, not the original one that you started with. So we now solve the equation. From the equation, we have that the mass of empty density bottle is 30 gram. What we want to get is apparent cubic expansivity is just the liquid, not the bottle. So we have let me say a bottle, and then we pour water, or we pour a liquid inside it. Now how do we get the mass of this liquid inside this bottle? What we do is that if we know the mass of the bottle itself, we subtract the mass of the bottle from the mass of the bottle and the liquid, and then we get the mass of the liquid itself. Take for instance, you want to check the mass of water. You know you cannot weigh water directly because it is not a solid object. You have to put it inside something and check the weight of it. Now what you do is this: you get a bottle. Maybe when you weigh the bottle alone, when it is empty, maybe the weight is A. Now you pour water inside the bottle and now weigh it again. Maybe the weight is now B. Now for you to get the mass of the water, what you do is that you now say the mass when you have water and the bottle, which is B, minus A. That will give you the mass of what is inside the bottle. So that is the same question that we have here. They just tested our knowledge of ability to subtract things that are together to get the one that we are looking for. Here, the density of the liquid, or the mass of the liquid, is inside a bottle. It is combined with the mass of another object. So we subtract the mass of the object to get the mass of the one we are looking for. So what we now have is that we subtract the mass of the bottle. The mass of the bottle is 30. The mass of the bottle is 30 gram, and the mass of the bottle and liquid is 40. So we say 40 gram. 40 gram minus 30 gram will give us 10 gram. This is the mass of the liquid before we start heating it. This is the mass of the liquid before we start heating it, the original mass of the liquid before we start heating it. Now when we heated the liquid with the bottle over 40 degrees, the volume reduces to 38 degrees. Now that means we now minus 30 from 38 to give the mass. The mass reduces to 38 gram. So we now minus 30 gram from 38 gram to get the mass after it has been heated. So we now have, after heating, the mass of the liquid is now 38 minus 30, and that gives us 8 gram. That gives us 8 gram. This is before heating, and this is after heating. The mass before heating is the mass of the object, plus the mass of the liquid minus the mass of the object, that is the bottle. That gives us 10 gram. And the mass after heating is the mass of the bottle plus the mass of the liquid minus the mass of the bottle after heating, and that is 38 minus 30, which gives us 8 gram. Now, for us to calculate the apparent cubic expansivity, I say that it is the change in mass over the mass left. The mass left is the mass after heating, which is 8, over the mass left, then times by the temperature change. So we have that our apparent cubic expansivity is equal to 10 minus 8. The change in mass is 10 minus 8 over 8 times temperature change is, what is the temperature change? The temperature change is, it is heated through 40 degrees. So the temperature change is 40 degrees. So we put it there, 8 times 40 degrees, and this gives us 2 over 320. Now this gives us 0.00625. This is now the apparent cubic expansivity of the liquid. The apparent cubic expansivity of the liquid. Why are we talking about apparent liquid expansivity? We are talking about apparent liquid expansivity because we cannot get the volume of the liquid directly, because we cannot heat the liquid directly. We can only heat the liquid when we put it inside, or we cannot get the volume of the liquid directly. We can only get the volume of the liquid when we put it inside something. So if we put it inside something, it means that another thing is combining with the mass of it, and we have to create a relationship between the mass of that object and the mass of the liquid that is now poured into it. So we are now talking about a relationship, and whenever we are talking about a relationship, we are now talking about apparent of something. So that is the idea behind apparent cubic expansivity. We use it mostly when we are talking about the cubic expansivity of liquid. If we are talking about cubic expansivity of a solid, we can measure the volume of the solid directly and then use the volume to get the cubic expansivity. But liquid, we cannot get the volume directly, or else we cannot get the mass directly, or else we put it inside something and then get the mass of the mass or weight of the liquid. Now, because we put it inside something, we have to create a relationship between two of them, and creating the relationship gives us apparent cubic, apparent linear, or apparent anything we want to get. So that is the idea, and that is how to solve this question. I hope everything is clear now. Thank you.